Look at her arm. Caitlin Clark has been sent to the line for just 8 non-shooting fouls in her last 12 quarters. The whistle just doesn't seem to find her. But footage from the Fever's win over the Chicago Sky is spreading fast right now, and it's not a crossover, not a logo 3, not a highlight reel dime. It's Caitlin Clark's forearm, streaked with what look like fingernail scratches, the kind of marks left behind when someone grabs, claws, and hangs on for dear life because they can't stay in front of her any other way.
The game that Djonai Carrington had circled on her calendar and wanted the world to see happened tonight. And how did it turn out? Caitlin Clark had 37 points, 10 assists, 8 threes, and we got this lovely reaction. But I want to point out something that happened in the game. Some of the Chicago Sky, including Djonai Carrington, to me, were looking for a fight this game. And Caitlin, instead of talking about it in the media, just did it with her basketball skills, and this is one of the plays that happened.
Indiana can regain the lead. Clark, another step back three. Yes. And a little bit of passion afterwards. You love it. This is...
So Djonai purposely runs into Clark, and then Clark just waves her off. You can tell that Clark was just over that storyline and with that rivalry.
And here's the part that should make everyone watching this uncomfortable. Almost none of it got called. Possession after possession, defenders are hanging all over Clark, grabbing jersey, grabbing arm, digging in with their nails like there's a reward for whoever leaves the deepest mark. And the whistle stays silent. This isn't one chippy sequence from one game. It's a pattern that's been building for weeks, right out in the open. And the tweet that set off this whole conversation puts it about as bluntly as it can be put.
It took the ref 30 business days to call this foul on Caitlin Clark. But of course they want to demonize Clark and be like, she was overreacting. She's the most fouled player in the league. What are we doing? Why was the whistle not blown right here? Grabbing her, blow the fucking whistle, man. And then she had to do all this again to finally put her hand up. Like, what are we doing, man? Enrique's ugly ass falling down all over the place, foul call. You look at Asia Wilson, foul call, but it takes the ref looking direct. Look, why is her hand not up? Takes the ref 30 business days to call this. But let's demonize Clark. No, all these players fear Caitlin Clark. They fear for their lives when this woman is on the court and they have to hack her, tackle her. Odyssey Sims tackle Clark in this game and everything because she's the 11th best guard and we're going to guard her this way, though. Like, you guys are fucking ridiculous, man. It's like the refs just want Clark to get beat up and hacked. These people just want her to just play through it. And it's like, it's not part of the game to get fouled and have to...
Caitlin Clark has just 8 non-shooting free throws in her last 12 quarters of play. 8. In 12 full quarters of basketball. That's not a typo, and it's not some small sample size excuse either. That's nearly 3 full games worth of basketball where the most fouled, most physically punished guard in the entire league has barely seen the free throw line.
To show you 10 missed calls last game. That Caitlin Clark got fouled and the ref never called it. There's a moving screen. She's moving all over the place. Hits her with the shoulder like always. Look at this. Fouls her, holding her, and fouls the crap out of her. No foul. Look at this. She got fouled the whole game. They didn't call this a foul. Look at this one. Like, her body's all over her. How is that not a foul? Look at this one. Cardosa swipes her once, twice, just tries to grab her. Can you imagine being fouled the entire game? Every time you hit half court, every time you dribble, every time you drive. Look at this. Sheldon clearly has her hand on Caitlin Clark's shoulder when she's shooting it. They even showed a replay. It's exactly where I thought it was. Watch this. Her arm is on Caitlin Clark's shoulder the whole time.
Take a second with that number because it's easy to scroll past a stat like this without letting it actually land. Free throws exist for one reason: the rulebook says certain contact crosses the line into illegal. So when a player who absorbs as much hitting, grabbing, and shoving as Clark does is only getting to the line a handful of times across 12 straight quarters, that's not evidence she's suddenly playing in cleaner games or drawing less contact. It's evidence the whistle has gone quiet on her, specifically, right at the moment the physicality against her has actually gotten worse. The harder these defenses play her, the less protection she seems to get back. Which is close to the exact opposite of how officiating is supposed to work in any competitive sport.
For this WNBA player to be suspended after she intentionally pokes Caitlin Clark in the eye, you can see here she misses the ball with an open palm and then hones it into this little sharp pointy hand and jabs it right into her eyeball one more time, right in the eye. And believe it or not, she didn't even get a foul for this. It was so intense as well that as the game progressed, you could tell she was getting a black eye just from the hit. There is no doubt in my mind that what this WNBA player did was 100% intentional, and honestly, I think it should have a huge suspension as well.
Because let's be honest about what's actually happening on the floor, week after week. If a defender can't get in front of her, can't stay in front of her off the dribble, and can't contest her within the normal rules, some players start reaching for whatever's left. They can't poke her in the eye and get away with it clean, and a full tackle to the ground is too obvious for even a sympathetic official to miss, so the next option becomes the fingernails, quietly. A grab here, a scratch there, small enough to slide past the whistle in real time, but visible enough on the replay the next morning that you start connecting some very uncomfortable dots. At that point it isn't just defense anymore. It starts looking like an attempt to wear her down, frustrate her into a mistake, or worse, actually injure her enough that she can't keep doing this to opposing teams every night.
Wasn't called a foul. This wasn't called a flagrant foul. There was no whistle blown on this play. This play never went under review. This play has absolutely nothing to do with basketball. As you can see, the ball is all the way over there. This is just someone getting mauled. The WNBA is stupid and is not as serious.
This is exactly where the free throw stat matters, because it isn't just a number people are throwing around to be dramatic or farm engagement. Track the hard fouls, the tackles that never get whistled, the off-ball holding and contact away from the play entirely. No player in the league is absorbing more of it than Caitlin Clark while getting less protection back. She takes hit after hit that any neutral observer watching live would call a foul without hesitation. Then she gets up, jogs back on defense, and does it again the very next possession like nothing happened. There's a resilience in that which almost gets lost in the noise of the controversy, because most players facing this level of uncalled physicality would start playing tentative, pulling back off the drive to protect themselves. She hasn't. If anything, she's attacking harder, driving right back into the same spots on the floor where the grabbing happens most.
These are plays we've seen from DJ.
These are the plays. Look. Yanking her hair down. Oh, that's a basketball play, y'all. And tell me if you notice a common denominator. Look. Basketball play, look. Basketball play. I didn't know you can rip somebody's hair out. That's a basketball. Look. Ankle injury. That's a basketball play, y'all. Look, poke right in the eye. It's not this many basketball plays in the world. There's not this many coincidences in the world. She went up like this and came down like this and poked an eye. Knocked her all upside her head. Now she got seats. Like, this is what you call a track record. Look. Not even going for the ball. Like, come on.
But that's what Djonai Carrington does.
And we know, and that's been part of the problem, because we've been telling y'all, this is what she does and has a track record.
This isn't the first time DJ Carrington's name has come up in this exact conversation. Fans flagged her physicality with Clark before, all the way back to a playoff series where a similar uncalled swipe near the face went viral for the same reason this footage is going viral now. It keeps happening. It keeps getting waved off live by the officials on the floor. And it keeps only becoming a real conversation once someone slows the tape down after the fact and shows people what actually happened. That gap between the live whistle and the internet's verdict is becoming a pattern of its own, led on top of the larger one, not before it, and not because her workload eased up while this was happening game after game on national television in front of millions of people. Which brings us to the other half of this story. Because while her arm was getting scratched up and the whistle stayed tucked in the referee's pocket, Caitlin Clark has quietly been rewriting the record books. Here's the tweet that's been circulating alongside the footage, and once you read the numbers, you understand why this whole situation feels so absurd side by side. Most 30-point, 10-assist games in WNBA history, Caitlin Clark, 5. The rest of WNBA history combined, 4. Sit with that for a second, because it isn't close, and it doesn't need much interpretation. Every 30 to 10 game ever recorded by every other player across the entire history of the league adds up to 4 total games. 4. Clark alone has 5, done in a fraction of the time some of these other careers span. That's not a hot streak over a couple of good weeks, and it's not a lucky run against soft competition on an easy schedule. That's a level of two-way offensive dominance this sport has never seen at the point guard position, put up while absorbing contact that would make most players think twice before even attacking the paint.
Caitlin Clark now has more 30-point, 10-assist games in her career, with 5, than the rest of the WNBA has combined in league history. Let that sink in. I'm going to have a sip of coffee while that sinks in. Yeah. Yeah, by herself, she's got more 30-point, 10-assist games by herself than the entire league combined. Entire league history combined.
It also raises a fair question about consistency across the rest of the league. Plenty of guards play through contact every single night, and plenty of them get calls that Clark simply doesn't get in comparable situations. That's not a knock on those players, most of them are just playing hard, physical basketball the way the league has always rewarded. It's a question for the people holding the whistle. Because if the standard for what counts as a foul shifts depending on who's on the receiving end of the contact, that's not a small officiating inconsistency anymore. That's a fairness problem. And fairness problems in professional sports tend to get worse the longer they go unaddressed, not better.
So, look at this. This is where you're like, this is loser shit. Oh, I'm going to pretend to flop. Djonai just shoved Caitlin. She literally just walked into Caitlin and shoved her. Caitlin dribbled the ball and she just shoved her. And she just goes that. Caitlin didn't even throw her head back. And then waits for Caitlin, starts shit talking, throws her head back. Caitlin doesn't see her, and then goes and does it again. That is the most loser shit ever. That is the most loser shit ever. And the worst part is that Djonai checked into the game while Caitlin Clark was while Caitlin was on the bench, and Djonai started off really well. Really well, Djonai started. As soon as Caitlin Clark as soon as Caitlin Clark checks in the game, Djonai suddenly is like, I don't care about basketball anymore. I don't care about basketball. The only thing that I care about is, can I go and
That's really what makes this whole storyline impossible to ignore once you sit with it. This isn't a player struggling under the physicality, quietly breaking down under the weight of it. This is a player getting scratched, grabbed, tackled, and barely whistled for any of it. And instead of shrinking from contact, she's producing the single greatest stretch of 30 to 10 games this league has ever recorded. Every time a defender decides the answer is grabbing her arm instead of playing defense with their feet, she seems to answer by dropping another 30 to 10 the very next chance she gets. If the goal was ever to frustrate her into a slump or wear her down enough that the production drops off, it hasn't worked. It hasn't even come close. And the numbers back that up every week.
Now, it is no way y'all trying to talk about Caitlin Clark shooting 13 free throws. The same people that call Asia Special Whistle Wilson the GOAT, that shoots 50 million free throws a game. The same people that glaze Angel Reese, the free throw merchant that has to flop to get points because she can't shoot. Free throw merchant, but Clark got 13 free throws in a loss. But also, when Angel Reese gets a double-double and has a good game in a loss, it's glazed. But when Clark has a good game in a loss, they want to shit on it and do the opposite and be the goofies that they are, man. Goofy, man. Clark is the most fouled player in the league. She got the whistle that she deserved today versus the Dallas Wings, man. She should be shooting free throws like that every single game because people just hold on to her and try to foul her all the time because there ain't no other.
That contrast really is the whole story, and it's worth spelling out plainly one more time before wrapping up. 8 non-shooting free throws in 12 quarters, while defenders scratch up her arm and get away with contact that would draw a whistle against almost anyone else in that same league. And in that exact same stretch, she's putting together a historic run that the rest of the league combined, across its entire existence, hasn't matched. Those two facts sitting next to each other should be enough on their own for the league office to take a hard look. Because Clark still walks off with the assists, still walks off with the points, and still ends the season holding a record the rest of the WNBA combined simply cannot touch. No matter how many bodies they throw at her defensively, the marks on her arm tell you how hard some players are trying to slow her down. The record book tells you, in exact numbers, how well that approach is actually working. And right now, the record book is not on their side, no matter how many nights they leave her covered in scratches.
Think that the referees are in on it. Meaning, like, I think the referees potentially being directed by the commissioner are in on really screwing with this chick and really trying to, I don't know if run her out of the league or make her look stupid or what. Am I the only one that thinks this? She's on her 6th or 7th. I think at 8 you get suspended for a game. She picked up her 8th, but then, they quickly reversed it.
All she got to become is lesbian. They'll quit.
Well, but what if she doesn't want to be lesbian?
Well, then she's going to have to get run off.
There's also a cost to all of this that doesn't show up in any box score, and it's worth naming directly. Every time a defender gets away with grabbing an arm hard enough to leave marks, it sends a signal to the rest of the league that this is an acceptable way to guard the best player in basketball right now. Coaches watch film too. If the tape shows that scratching and grabbing goes unpunished, other coaches start building game plans around exactly that kind of contact, because why wouldn't they, if it works and nobody blows the whistle? That's how a bad habit spreads across an entire league instead of staying contained to one team or one player. And it's exactly why a moment like this deserves more than the usual lifespan of a viral clip before everyone moves on to the next storyline.
No foul called. So she could get hit, she could get assaulted, but they only call fouls if it's on her for not doing anything. That's what I've learned. Look at this. So Angel Reese could hit Caitlin Clark in the throat, but Caitlin Clark can't get near Angel Reese. What about this double standard? So she could elbow Caitlin Clark in the chest to create space, but it's a foul on Caitlin Clark, but Caitlin Clark slightly moves her arm and the girl flops, and it's a foul on Caitlin Clark. So it's always...
So, keep grabbing, keep scratching, keep hoping the whistle stays quiet. One more possession, one more quarter, one more game. Caitlin Clark has already shown everyone exactly what happens next. She's shown it 5 separate times now, more than anyone else in the history of this league combined. She gets knocked around, gets up, and does it again. That's the story right now, whether the whistle wants to admit it or not. And until something actually changes about how these games get called, expect this exact same pattern to keep repeating every time she steps on the floor. None of this is meant to suggest every hard foul against Clark is malicious, and it wouldn't be fair to paint an entire league of players with that brush over a handful of uncalled plays. Basketball is physical. Contact happens constantly, and not every scratch or bump is evidence of intent. But when the pattern repeats this consistently, game after game, arm after arm, and the free throw numbers back up exactly what the eye test is already showing, it stops being a coincidence worth dismissing. It becomes a trend worth tracking, worth talking about, and worth the league actually reviewing instead of letting it quietly disappear into the next news cycle.